So in the previous classes we have discussed the basic HTML, like the HTML syntax and some HTML tags like the six heading tags, paragraph, single tag, double tag like BR, HR, paragraph, all like that. We have learned some HTML attributes and some HTML tags like image tag. There are some HTML tags that doesn't work without HTML attributes, like image tag, anchor tag, like that. And we have already learned what is the purpose we need to use attribute. And we said in order to change the behavior of the element. That means if you need to align something to the center, we are changing the behavior or the default behavior of this element. So we are aligning to the center. So at that time you can use attribute. So there are so many purposes that we can use attributes, and we have also learned tables in HTML. How we can use table. We learn nested table, and today we will start HTML list. How we can create HTML list. So first of all, what is this list? This list means everyone knows, I think it doesn't need explanation. So list means when I need to list something. For example, I have topics, so I need to list all the topics in, like for example, up to 1 to 10. I need to give numbers. I need to make numberized. So this time you can use the HTML lists. For example, I need to list my content into dots like this. So these are now a list. So if I need to make like this, again we can use the HTML list. So in HTML there are two types of list. So one is called ordered list and the other one is called unordered list. So what is the difference of this? The first one, ordered list, means when I need to use my items in numberized or alphabet or the Roman number, so this time you can use the ordered list. If I need to list my items or my content or my topics in dots or square or circle, we can use this time an ordered list. So let's start. Let's practice these two. First of all, we need to create HTML file. We need to open this file in our code editor. We need to write the HTML syntax and we need to run this file. This is the basic, and every class we have to do this. Okay, so the first step is we need to create HTML file. So how we can create? We have set right click and you can create in every location in your computer. Okay, so we are now in the desktop. We can set right click, new, then we can create text document. So we can set this is lists. For example, we are learning lists, so we can give a file name lists. And now we need extension. Instead of the default .txt, we need to remove that one and we need to name .html. That means we need to create HTML file. So if I set enter, we need to set yes. So now this is our HTML file. So we need to open this file to our code editor. So we can set right click, open with, then the Visual Studio Code. So now this is our HTML file. First of all, we need to write the HTML syntax. So we already said we can do the HTML syntax in two ways. Either we write everything by ourselves, or we can use the Visual Studio shortcut, which is Shift+1. So if you just set Shift+1, then you will get the syntax. But we don't need this. We are beginners. We have to write everything by ourselves. So we have set document type is HTML, and then we need the HTML tag. So inside this HTML tag we can use one attribute, which is language, or we don't need that for now. So inside the HTML we need the to divide our project or our HTML file into two parts, the head part and the body part. So inside the head part we can use like the title of the file. We can use some meta tags that we will need in the future. So we'll learn that in the future, like when we need to rank our website to the Google. So that time we need some meta tags. But for now, we are just beginner, we just need the title, which means the title of the website. So this time our title is listis, so we need to learn listis. So inside the body, whatever we write inside the body is what we can see in the website. This is what we can see in the head of the website, and this is what we can see in the main part of the website. So let's just write now 1h1. Let's set html listis. So this is now our html file and html code. So we need to run this file. So what we can do, this is our file. We can set click, right click, open with, then we can open with Google Chrome. So now this is our html file. So this is the basic, everyone knows. Big problem. So now let's start the two types of the HTML. So we said there are ordered list and unordered list. So what is the ordered list? For example, I have some contents. For example, I need to set web development. Let's set web dev language. For example, I need to list the language in the web development. So this time, in order to make a list for the language, we can use numberized. For example, we can set HTML to CSS. Let's set to CSS and 3 JavaScript, for example. So this is called now. This is numberized list. Okay, this is numberized list. So if we need to make like this is called ordered list in HTML. Okay, so in order to create like that, what we need to do, we need one HTML tag which is called OL. OL means ordered list. So inside this tag ordered list, we need now our list items, because we need to list something. What are that items? So this time we need another HTML tag which is called list item. Li means list item. So inside this list item, we can write our first item. We can set, for example, HTML. Again, we have another list item. We can set CSS. Again, we have another list item. We can set JavaScript, for example. Like this. Okay, this is called ordered list. So let's save this. Let's try to refresh so you can see. We get now our list as numberized 1 2 3, but we don't write here 1 2 3. It comes by default because we are using the HTML tag ordered list, and here we write our list items. So you need two HTML tags. The first one is OL, which means the ordered list. You have to tell the HTML that you need to create ordered list. So inside the ordered list, you have to write your list items. So this list item has opening and closing tag. Between the opening and the closing tag, you have to write your item, your content. Okay, you have to write inside the list item your content. That's it. So this is how we can create the ordered list. Let's talk about the other one, which is unordered list. So if we need to create an ordered list, we can set UL. So this is the opposite. That is ordered list, and this is unordered list, UL. So inside the unordered list, again we need the same. We can set list item. We need LI. So this LI always means list item, my item. So we have to write our item inside here. So we can set BHP, for example. We have here another list item, LI. We can set Laravel. We have here another list item, LI. So we can set MySQL. So if you try to refresh now, so this is the unordered list. So the difference you can see, one is numberized, another one is dots. So these are the two lists in HTML. So what about in the order list? In the order list, we can use numberized, or we can use alphabet, or we can use the Roman number or the Greek number. So how we can change from number to alphabet? For example, I need to make my list ABC, or I need to make the row number I2, IV, like that. So how we can change from number to alphabet? So this time we need HTML attributes. So we already said if we need to change the behavior of the HTML element, we can use attribute. So now we need to change the behavior of this OL. The behavior is now number. We need to change to alphabet. So we need attribute. So where we write our attribute? Inside the OL. Inside the order list, we can write here the type attribute. Type attribute. So if you are using Visual Studio, you will get these recommendations. So you can see here we have one A capital, A small, I capital, I small. So these are Roman numbers, and these are alphabets, and this is a number. So if I need to make my list number, so I can set 1. If I need to make my list alphabet, we can use A capital or A small. So what is this A capital, A small? If you need to list your items in capital letter or alphabet, so you can use the A capital. If you need to use the alphabet with small letters, you can use the A small. So this is the same, the Roman number. If you need to make capital letter, if you need to make a small letter. So let's make now, we need alphabet with a small letter, so we can use A small. We set type attributes. I need to change the type to alphabet with a small letter. So let's try now. If I refresh, so you can see we get ABC. So let's set, I need alphabet with capital letter. So if I make A capital, so you can see we get ABC with capital letter. If I need the Roman number, we can set I small or I capital. So let's make I small. So this is. So you can change your list item every time as you need. You can make number, alphabet, Roman. So that is one attribute. So let's just make number now. So this is a numberized ordered list. For example, we have here another list. So let's make, we have another list. So if I refresh now, so you can see this list is now from 1 to 3, and this one is 1 to 3. So what I need to make, I need to make serial number. Instead of again starting from 1, I need to make to continue the previous list. For example, the previous list ended with 3, number 3. So this one I need to start from 4, not from 1 again. So I need to continue my list. So instead of starting 1, I need to set 4, 5, 6, like that. Again, we have two different ordered lists. So this is one, and this is another one. So how we can make this serial number? How we can make serialized? So again, we need another HTML attribute. So this attribute called start. So which number I need to start from this list? So if we set here start, so which number I need to start? So we can set start from number 4. So if I set 4, so this will start from 4. So let's check. So you can see it will start from 5, then it will continue to the list. So this is another attribute called start. So this means which number we will start. So let's set now, instead of a number, we have alphabet. Okay, so let's remove this. We have alphabet. So we have A, B, C. So instead of starting A, we need to continue from D. So what do I need to do again? We can use the attribute start. So we can set start, then not A, not D. Still we can use the number. We can set 4. So this 4 means A, B, C. Then D is in the fourth position, so we can set 4. So if we set 4, start the 4th position, then it will start from the D. So it will start from the D. So you don't need to write start D or L like that. Every time you have to use a number for this attribute. So that's how you can customize, or how you can change the behavior of the ordered list. What about the unordered list? Because we have already said in the ordered list, in the unordered list, we can use dots, circle, or square. So how we can change this? We already learned how to change the ordered list. We can use the type attribute. So what do we need here to change the type? So this time, for the unordered list, there is no HTML attribute we can use. So if we need to change the type of this unordered list, we have to use CSS. So here we have to use style, which means CSS. Then we have set list style type. This HTML, CSS property. So this is called property. So we need to tell the list style type. So we can make a square, for example. If we make a square, so you can see it becomes square. We can also make to circle. So if I save that, so you can see it will become circle. So this is how you can customize. But you need, in order to change the type of this unordered list, you need CSS. So this time we are not learning CSS. We don't need this. So we can just customize now the ordered list. Do you understand this? Mustafa Sen. So that is the ordered list. So let's go to the next topic, which is the forms. But before we go this, you have to practice this list. It is it's good for you. So let's continue the forms, HTML forms. How we can create form in HTML. So forms means the user input. Okay, like contact form, login form, registration form. Let me show you one. So this is the form where user can write something. It's called form, user input. So how we can create HTML forms? So for HTML form, we need different HTML tags, okay, with different purpose. The first one is the user input, where user can write something. So let's try to create HTML form. So let's set now. First of all, we need the form tag, the HTML form tag. So we can set HTML form. So this is the form, but this is just placeholder. It will not change anything. This is important when we need to submit the form, but this time it doesn't do anything. It's just like a placeholder. But again, we have to learn the form. So inside this form, we need to write the user inputs, where the user can write something. So that's called HTML input tag. This input call where user can write something. So let's try, and it's also single tag. Okay, this is part of the single tags. Only input. It doesn't have closing tag. So this input is where user can write something. So inside this input, we'll use multiple attributes. But first of all, let's check this. This is the input. If you just set inputs, input means where user can write something. So we can write here something. So this is the input. So this input has now different types. For example, we need if the user writes something here, what the user will write. So we can make email, phone number, telephone. So this input have different types. So we can use here attribute called the type attribute. So you can see here we get list. We can make bottom, checkbox, color, date, date time, email, file, hidden, image. So we have more types. Yes, so this input can be different types. So the first type, let's say text. So text means user can write inside this input a text. So that means this text, any alphabet letter, any letters. So this is the text. The other input type that we can use, it can be for, so let's say, password. This input type is password. So what is the difference, text and password? So whenever the user writes something, it will be a password, no one can see, it is password. Okay, we have to change the input type every time. So we can make password, we can make email, we can make number. So let's set number. So if we write type number, so this means the user can't write a text. So you can see it's not allowed, it's just for number. So this type is number. So let's write one by one. So let's start with the text. So we have here input type text. We have another input type password. We can make another input, this type we can set email. We can have another input, so this input type can be number. So these are some of the basics. Okay, these are some of the basics. So this one is text, this one is password. So when we write something, it will be password. This one is email, this one is number. So these are different types of inputs. Okay, still we can use here more other types. So you can set inputs. For example, if I need to make date bigger, so we can make our type to date. So if I save that, so you can see this input is date. So if I click, so we can get the date. Okay, this input type is date. Also you can make date time. You can make your type date time. That means, so it's not working, I don't know why. If you make date and time, it will, when you click, you can select date and time. So maybe we have here example. Let's set, no, we don't have. So the date and time means like this. When you set date, you can now select the date, right? So here another option, which will be the time. So that's called the date time together. So here we can use another input, which is the type. We can make the type of this input file. So this type file means we can upload something. Okay, for uploading. So if I refresh now, so this is, you can see, juice file. So if I click, then we can use a file, we can upload. So you can see the file name .jpg. So this file means for uploading, when you need to upload something, so you can use this type file. So there are so many types, but these are some of the common types. Okay, so you can try one by one all the types. So this is one attribute inside the input. So there are another attributes that we can use inside the input. What is the other attribute? For example, we need to define what type of input is this. For example, when the user need to fill this input, is this username or name or phone number or password? What is this input? What is this field? What user will write here? Will he write here his name, his password? What is this? So user can't understand what input is this. So we have to define this input. We have to give a definition for the user. What type of input is this? So this time, for that we can use, if we need to define this input for the user, we can use two ways. Either we can use HTML attribute or we can use HTML tag. So for HTML attribute, we can use here an attribute called placeholder. So placeholder means we need to write something inside the input. So we can set, for example, enter your name. So if I save this, if I go to my browser, if I refresh, so you can see there is a text now this input. So user can understand here is enter your name. So he will write here his name. Easy. So this is one way which we are using now, placeholder. There is another way that we can define the input. We can use something called label, the label tag. So we can set label. Inside here we can write for example name. So that means this input is now name input. So if I save this, if I refresh, so you can see this input is name. So this is another way. So this way is called label. So we can use before the input we can use this label. That means this input is name. So that's the two ways that we can define the input. So now these are some of the basic input types and how some attributes. What about if I need to make for example, if I need to make complete form, okay? So registration form, for example, I need to ask the user his name, his email, his password, his phone number, his gender. Okay, is he male or female? So we need to ask that. After completing the form, we need to set are you agree our terms and conditions. We need to check. So this time we can create one complete form. So let's create one complete form. So inside that form we can learn more. Okay, so let's start with the username. So we can use again the inputs. So we can make our input type text. So we just need to text user to write text here. So again we can write here another input. So we can say this input type is email. So let's define what input is this. So let's write here placeholder. So we can set enter your name. Then this input we have to write here placeholder. We can set enter your email. So we need to get here the email. So let's check these two inputs. So these are. So now we need to make this input to start a new line. So what HTML tag we can use? PR. We can use here PR. So before the starting the second input, we can use here PR, line break. So this is now. So still we need another space. So we can use another PR. So we can use here another PR. So let's save this. So let's refresh. So this is, we get more space. So now we have name, email. So let's try phone number. So let's add here also two PRs because we need to get more space. So we can create here another input. We can set this type is password, for example, and we can add here placeholder. Enter your password. So let's check. So we have another. So we can write here our password. So let's add another input, which is the phone number. So we have set here BR, double line breaks. We can add here input. We can make the type to number, and we can set here placeholder. Enter your phone number. Then we can create here another 2PR. So let's save this. Let's check. This is phone number. Now we need to ask the user gender. We need to ask his gender. Okay. We need to give two options: female male or female. So still we can use the input. Okay, so before the input we need first of all the label tag. This time you can't use placeholder, so we need label. So inside the label we can set gender. So after that we need to give here br. So inside here now we need the input. Still we need the input, because if we set just like this gender, we have just a text. So we need to add here two inputs. Okay, so we can set here input. So we need to make now the type called radio. So this radio means user can select one option. Okay, we will learn some selection. So we learn checkbox, radio, and select. So there's three types, three input types. One is radio, another one is checkbox, the other one is HTML tag, which is called select. So the first type is radio. So this radio means user have only one option. He can select only one option, no multiple choice, only one choice. The other one, checkbox, means multiple choice. So let's try this. Input type radio. So let's make this one male. Let's give your line break. We need here another input, so we can set again radio. So this time we need to make this one female. So let's save this and let's try. So this is what we have. You can see we have gender male or female. So here we have that. So we need only one choice, only one selection. So if I click male, so that means it will be only male. But if I click female, so you can see now we can select both, but we don't need this. We just need only one. So we need to add these two inputs another attribute called name attribute. So we can add here name, and we can give the same name. So we need to give here name. So these two name attributes we need to give same name. For example, you need to set this is gender, and this one we need to make the same. We need to set gender. So we have to give same name. Okay, so if you go to our browser now, that means we can only select one. We can't select both because we use here same name. So this is called one option, one choice. We give the user only to choose one choice, which is called radio button or radio input. So let's give here two line breaks, and let's try the other option, which is called checkbox. So we need to give the user more option. He can select or he can check more options. So this time we need to use the same input, but we need to give type of call checkbox. So we need to write here something. For example, let's set terms, or let's set agree the terms, like that. So if I save that, if I refresh, so you can see we have here check. So this is called checkbox. Again, for this checkbox we can use more options, more checkbox. So if I refresh now, so we have here, so this means now we can select more. So this is called checkbox. If I need to check more, if I need to select one choice, this is called radio button. So radio button and checkbox. Okay, link. Oh, so let's continue. So we said the checkbox is where the user can select more option, and the radio button is that the user can select only one option. So that is the difference, radio button and checkbox. So let's just say we need now one checkbox. We just need to ask the user if he agree the terms and conditions. That's it. So let's add here line breaks. So now this is one simple form. Let's try to add here more. For example, we need to add the user for selection. Okay, we need to give the user a list and he can select one of them. So this time that is called select. This is HTML element called select. Okay, it is double tag, it has opening and closing tag. So inside this select we need to give the user options. Okay, we need to give option, so we have to write here option tag. So inside the option we can give the options. For example, let's say we need to set the user select. Let's set select one language. For example, we need to give some selection, so at this time we need to give more options. So we can set, this is the default option. Okay, when the list come, this will be the first option. So select a language, then the user can select one of these options. So we can set, for example, English, and we can set another option. We can set here Bengali. So now we give the user two options. He can select one language. So this time if we go to a browser, let's try. So here you can see select one language. If the user click here, we have here two options. So he can select one of them, the language is Bengali. He can select the language is English. So this is part of the form. This is called select, when we need to give the user more option and he can select one of that options. This is called select. So first of all you need to write the select tag, and inside that select you need to write your options that you need to give the user, and he can select only one of them, not multiple. So that is the select. Let's add one last, which means the user can write more text. For example, here we have just one input, but the user, if the user write here more text, you can see it will hide. So this time if you need to add the one option that the user can write more text, for example we have contact form, we need to set write your message or your comment. So this time we need big input. So this big input is called text area in HTML, text area. So what we can do, we can write here text area. Okay, text area. So this text area has some attributes. So let's first of all try. So this is the text area. Let's add here line breaks. So as you can see, this is the text area. It is big, but still it is small. The user can write only 2 lines. So if you need to customize, if you need to make big for this text area, we need 2 HTML attributes, which is called rows and columns. So we need to give the user for the rows, it's how many lines the user can write something. For example, if you need to set 10 lines, so for this time he can write only 2 lines. So if you need to give option of 10 lines, we can add here rows. We can write here rows and we can make 10, which means 10 lines. So you can see 10 line. You can write now 10 line. So this is the rows. If you need to give more words, he can write more words in each line. So this time we can add columns. So how we can add columns? We need to go here, we need to set columns, which means columns. So we can add, for example, 30 columns, which means 30 words in each row. So you can see here the width will become big. If we add row, the height of this text area will become big. So that's how you can customize. This is called text area. Then that's all the form. That's all what we need inside the HTML form. So let's add one, which means when the user complete the form, he need to submit. So in order to submit this, he need button. So for bottom in the forms we can create two ways. Either we can use the input or we can use the bottom itself. So what you can do here, we can create input, and we can make the type. So let's remove this. We can make the type of the input to bottom, and we need to give here another attribute called value. That means what I need to write inside this bottom. So we can set submit. This will be the text. So you can see here submit. So this text is now coming from this value attribute. So we can make here more. We can set add. We can change this text every time. So that means this type means we are creating a bottom, and the value, that means the text of this bottom, is add or whatever you need. So this is how we can create the bottom. This is one way. By using the input. So we can use here another tag which is called the bottom itself. So we can say again submit. So instead we need to use the bottom tag. We can say submit. So you can see both are same. If you use input or if you use the bottom, it will be the same. So that is the most important HTML tags in order to create a form in HTML. So do you understand? Mustafa Sen, you're sleeping. Mustafa say. Okay. How about Mariama? Do you understand HTML forms?
Yes, sir, I understand.
So now you have 5 minute time. You can do practice for this HTML form. Then we can continue our class. So let's continue again. So that is the forms. So we have learned the user inputs, different types of inputs. We have learned checkbox, radio, bottom, select, text area, and more. So now let's talk about two HTML tags with iframe and merq. So this is a bit advanced, but the iframe, let's start with the iframe. Why we use iframe? So this iframe means when we need to get a source from another website. So this time you can use this iframe. For example, we need to include our website, the Google map, like this. For example, this Kaizen website. Now here they have their Google map. Okay, so when we need to add our website Google map, or for example YouTube video, so this time we need to use this iframe. So how we can use the iframe? So let's set the HTML iframe is this one, iframe. So let's set iframe. So this iframe is like the image. It doesn't work without the src attribute, without the source attribute, because inside this source attribute is where we need to pass our link, because we need to get the source, we need to get the link. So our link, we can pass the link in here. But mostly if you need to get a source from another website, mostly you will get this iframe in their website. For example, let's set we need to get a YouTube video. Okay, so let's go to the YouTube. So let's set, for example, we need to get this video and we need to display in our project. So this is big, we need like 5-minute video, for example.
Coke Studio Bangla Season 3.
So we need to get this video. How we can get? So you can get the iframe of this video inside the YouTube, because this is the source. So you can go to the let's say share. You can click the share, and here embed, which means HTML link. So you can see this is the iframe. So this iframe means this is the source of this video. So if you copy this iframe and paste in your project, in your HTML file, that means you will get this video inside your project. So let's go to our file fresh. So you can see here the HTML video, the YouTube video we can play in
Go
our project.
Studio.
Because we get it is source. So let's explain the iframe. First of all, this iframe, the most important attribute is the src. That means this is the YouTube link. This is the video, the YouTube video link. So you can get the link and you can create your own iframe, and inside the src attribute you can pass your video link or any other link. So this iframe has some attributes like width, height, src. So this width and height means the size of the video. So you can make it small, you can customize. So for example, let's set 200 for our width, so it will become small. So you can see the width will become small, and you can customize also the height. You can set 100. So you can see, so that means you can
Go
customize
Studio.
the video. So these are another attributes, width and height, and the most important is the src. And here there are so many other attributes like title, which means the title of this video, this iframe, the iframe border, which means there's a border for the iframe, so you can make it 1 or 0. 0 means no border. If you said 1, there's a border. So you can see there's a border, gray border now. So you can add border. You can add allow, means the customization of this video. So you can add here autoplay, accelerator. So there are so many. These are from the YouTube, so we don't need that. You can remove if you need. There are so many, like allow full screen. So that means you can allow this full screen.
Go Studio Bangla.
So there are so many attributes, but the main important attributes inside the iframe is the width and height and the src attributes. And you can get the iframe for any source that you need. For example, let's say the Google map. So if you need to get the Google map, first of all we need to check the map. For example, we need to get the map of this area, Pantabat signal. So we can search Pantabat. So this Pantabat, there's maps. So you can go that maps, and here you have share option. So you can click that share option, and you get here the embed. So if you click that, there is the iframe. So you can copy this iframe and you can paste in everywhere you need to use in your project. So let's save that. Let's go to our site, let's refresh. So this is the map. This map is Pantabat. So every map that you need to include in a project, you have to search from Google, and you can get the map from the Google. And that time you can use in your website. So this is the iframe. Do you understand the iframe? And the most important thing in the iframe is the src, which means where you will use the link, and the height and width. And also you can add border or some other attributes, doesn't matter. So this is the iframe. Easy, very easy. Just this, you will use this when you need to include another source in your website. So this time you can use this iframe. So let's talk about the other tag, which is Mercue. So this Mercue means a scrolling text. If you need to add scrolling text in your website, so you can use this Mercue. For example, you are building a news website, so you need to add every time there is breaking news in every 5 minutes, then you can add. So this breaking news, it will scroll the screen of your website every time. So this time you can use the merq. So how we can use the merq? So we can add, for example, let's say we need to add the first. So we can add the merq tag, the HTML merq tag. So let's remove these attributes. So inside the merq tag, you can write your text. For example, we need to set now breaking news. So if we set just this, if we save, then if you go to our browser, refresh. So let's go to the top, so you can see there's a scrolling text, breaking news. So this is called the HTML merq. So here you have another attributes that you can customize this text, like the direction. You can change the direction. For example, now it's coming from the right side, it's going to the left side. You can change the direction, so you can use the direction attribute. So you can set direction, and inside this direction you can give your direction. You can set from left. So now it's going to the left. So if we set right, let's check. So it will come, it will go to the right. It will come from the left, it will go to the right. So you can check the direction, and also you can change the behavior, like scrolling, let's set sliding, like that. So also you can give background color, and also you can change the color of this text. So let's set, if I need to give a background color, so we need to set attribute called PG color. So we can give any background color. PG means background. So if you set PG color red, so you can see we give a background color red. So that's how you can customize the merq tag. And also you can change the text scrolling time, for example the speed. So now it's going slow. So if you need to make fast, or if you need to make more slow, so you can also add that. So you will use here another HTML attribute called amount on scroll. So I set amount on scroll. So you can give here amount on scroll. So you can set 1000 millisecond, which means 1 second. So let's make 100, for example. So no, it's not going fast. So let's check HTML merq tag, amount on scroll. Oh, scroll amount, not amount on scroll, scroll amount. So the attribute is scroll amount, and you need to give the speed, for example 20, like that. So let's remove not scroll amount, it is scroll amount, scroll amount, or amount on scroll, scroll amount. So let's try this. So you can see it's more fast, which means 20 second, 100 millisecond. 100 millisecond means 1 second, not less than 1 second. So let's take 1000 millisecond, which means 1 second. It's more fast. So it will become slow. So this is how you can change the speed of the merq. So this is the merq tag, and that's the two tags, the advanced tag iframe and merq. So that's it. In the next class we will learn the HTML5. So we have done now some of the HTML tags. So there is not all the HTML tags, there are more other tags that we haven't learned, but we have learned some of the HTML tags. So you have to try by yourself but searching other source. You can go to this website, W3 schools. You can go to W3 schools. Let's check, and you can learn more HTML tags from there. W3 schools. So you can learn HTML from here. So there are so many HTML tags that we haven't learned, so you can try by yourself. But the most important HTML tags we have already done. So you have to try more. If you need, you can practice this. And during this course, every day we work with HTML, because HTML is the backbone of the web development. And every time you will use this HTML. If you are learning CSS, we will work with HTML. If you are learning JavaScript, we will work with HTML. So every time we need HTML, so it will not end. But this is the end of the HTML tags. So we have learned some tags. From the next class we will start HTML5. Okay, and if you finish this, you have one project. This is the HTML project. You already know everything in here. So we will try to do this in the class, and you can try by yourself, okay, in the next class. So that's all our class today. If you have any question, you can ask me, please. For today, no, the next class you have this project, so you can start this project now, because we have already done this Mercure, H1, image, this list, this table, form, iframe. So everything we have done. So you can start this project, or we will do this project in the next class, no problem. Okay, so that's all your question. Do you have any other question? Online student Mariama, do you have any question?
No, I have no question.
Okay, so you have to try to do practice. Okay, so that's all class.